Hey, it's Dr. Jaban. Did you know that mold is probably one of the most vicious types of infections or toxicities or environmental things that can break you down that there is? Mold can cause a decrease in your immune system. It can wipe it out. It can cause you to have a decrease in ADH, which is going to cause you to urinate and lose all your electrolytes. The symptoms that come with mold can be from top to bottom some of the worst symptoms that are out there. A few of them are, POTS, fatigue, runny nose, watery eyes, frequent urination, shocks, brain shocks, body shocks, nerve tingling. Those are just a few. Mold can be an incredible thing to break down your body, and it can do it extremely rapidly. If you've ever moved into a new home and symptoms started, got a new job, and you just started feeling weaker, this can be mold. That's one of the most common ways it happens. The EPA estimates that between 1/3 and 1/2 of buildings in the United States are the perfect environment. Not only that, but have mold in them. That's up to half the buildings in the United States. That's an incredible statistic. That means that if you work outside of your home, not that your home necessarily is always safe, but then you could be getting mold because the building was full of it. I've had plenty of people that have been working in a building and we had to get them out of that building before we could even get them well, or get them out of a home to get them well. In Europe, it is shown in some studies that 1.4 billion is what the cost per year is on mold to go between the health ramifications of it and rebuilding or taking down buildings. This is all just mold by itself. This isn't even talking about the fact that when mold wipes out your immune system, then you have to deal with the fact that now you're more susceptible to Lyme and parasites and mycoplasma viruses and all these other immune system issues. But just the mold portion of it is what I'm talking about here. So what does mold do? Where does it come from? Those are some of the things we're going to talk about here on this intro. Mold is environmental, but that doesn't mean that it can't get in you and colonize you. Some of the different types of mold have been shown to have the ability to colonize. That means that you moved out of your home, you got out of that building, and it's still coming after you from inside. It is one of the highest reasons for chronic sinus infections coming back over and over and over again. It gets in, it weakens your immune system, but you're more susceptible to mold if you have an already weak immune system or an overactive immune system, right? So if one of those two things is there, then likely you're going to be a little more susceptible than the person next to you. Because as you already know, not everybody is going to be massively susceptible to mold. Some people are more than others, and this can be due to different genetic SNPs, different genetics that show that your body can't clear out those mold microns and get your body back to a state of health, okay? What is another reason why mold is becoming such an issue? EMFs have actually shown to weaken the immune system and irritate mold. So the more EMF, which is electromagnetic field, that we have, the more mold is going to continue to become a bigger and bigger and bigger problem. In Finland, they ran a study that showed that 1/10 of the population's asthma for children is from mold. And 18% of schools and 26% of nursing homes test positive for terrible amounts of mold. So it's everywhere. So if you've ever thought you might have a mold issue, you need to get into looking at it. We're going to be talking about testing this week. We're going to be talking about different types of molds that are out there, different types of spores and how they affect your body. We're going to talk about some ways to help you, some co-infections. We're going to talk about a lot of different information as we move through mold. Today was just for the noon hour to get a big start on what is mold, to get you thinking about it, because a lot of people out there already know about mold and they want information on how do I get better. But there's a lot of people that don't even know about mold, don't have that concept of mold, so they needed to understand a bit of where we're coming from. So remember, mold's symptoms go in and weaken you. They can create those nerve pains. They can create a dehydrated body by increasing your release of fluids and electrolytes out of your body. They can increase ADH. So that's what that's doing. ADH being anti-diuretic hormone, they're getting you to release that so you become electrolyte deficient and weaker. But it also can increase other hormones like MSC, which then goes from the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus, where MSH comes from, and then it lowers immune system factors. By bottoming out your immune system, then you're left with easily an area for the body to be attacked, right? So why is it that mold patients keep coming in with Lyme, with parasites, with viruses? Because their body has been weakened, and now it's a place that can be taken over. So when you're looking at treatment protocols, so many people get stuck on, I've got to treat mold, I've got to treat mold, I've got to treat mold, when they've already removed every possibility of them getting more mold out. Sometimes you have to go after these other infections before you can get back to mold. Sometimes you have to go mold first. Sometimes they have to come together. So if you have chronic inflammatory response syndrome, if you have neuropathies, if you have low body temperature, if you have POTS, if you have urination, listen to these videos about mold the rest of the week, because mold is absolutely something that can be affecting you, me, or anybody, because it is in up to half the buildings in the United States. So pay attention, ask any questions you have, invite people that are dealing with chronic conditions that just can't seem to get better, that just can't seem to get a grasp on what their ability to identify what is happening. Invite them all to our group, tag them to this video. Let's work on growing the knowledge, finding hope through this information and through healing. I can't wait to do the rest of these this week. Talk to you guys later.